Hello, and welcome to Fleet Action Report, episode 22.
Uh, Don't
22.
don't mind my dinging phone. I forgot to. I was bad.
Sometimes I'm still surprised we're at episode 22.
I know.
Viewers, right? Viewers, this is going to be a continuation of last week, which we highlighted the Ox to Bat build. This week, we're going to focus on a beam overload build. Kind of show you guys a little bit of a way to build the build.
Build the build.
There we go. And we'll give you an example of the build in combat as well when we queue up for something here in a little bit. So, I'm Nikodas.
I'm Grebog.
We should have done that sooner.
I know.
We do
it's
not
been
have
a
any
day.
guest with us. It has been a day. And, well, you killed me Sunday, but you didn't kill me today, so that's a good thing. We have no guest with us today. Other than killing players, what have you been up to this week, Grebog?
Well, let's see here. I didn't kill anyone today. I got close, but so I've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft. Raid team has started going. We are actually doing. We're only doing normal so far. It's to kind of, I guess, wet our whistle, so to speak, or whatever. Get in there. We went in fairly undergeared, so the first week was kind of chaos a bit. When I say undergeared, so typically the way Blizzard does things is 15 eye levels lower than the gear drops is what they want you at, which would be they'd want you around 185. I went in at 162. Oops. Though this week on Tuesday it's weird story. Been another raid night has happened since. I went in at 180 something, so I got my gear up. So finally, but I've been doing a lot of World of Warcraft stuff, raiding and stuff like that, Covenant whatnots. And coming in here doing my daily, getting playing around in the Winter Wonderland. What about you? What have you been up to?
Well, I'm not raiding, I'll tell you that. I have been gearing up in WoW. I mean, the new expansion's out, so why not? But mostly this week, I've been here in STO. I've been decking out my build, buying the bridge officers that I needed to finish up the details. I am broke now in game. I have no energy credits to my name. Well, I mean, I got a few, like 700,000, but compared to what I started with, I'm broke. I am totally out of Zen, and I am mostly out of dilithium. So, went through all my resources there trying to get this build set up for today's episode.
For a low price, you can get more.
I'm working on building more. I got to refine a bunch more dilithium, and there's still one bridge officer I need to purchase, and we'll go over that here in just a minute. So this week in STO, as Grebog just mentioned, the Winter Wonderland is in full swing. You have until January 7th to get your 20 days of progress, so you still have plenty of time to get that done if you haven't started on it. The 20 days gets you a new ship, which I did not write down.
Well, I mean, it's easy to find quick because it's right here in the reward info for this, which is the Fekleri Goktad carrier, which is a tier 6 carrier. It looks very similar to one of the carriers that Klingons already have access to, but it is Fekleri background based. So,
yeah, there you go. Good picture of it, even. It's an interesting ship. I'll give you that. I'm not a huge fan of the carriers, but I've been thinking about maybe flying this one. It could be fun.
It's supposed to have an interesting trait, I think. I've seen some chatter about the trait being really awesome. Apparently,
Uh,
it gives you like Grey Thor's fire starship trait, which gives your hangar pets that. So they spit
should be
fire.
an interesting should be an interesting thing. I'm looking forward to it. But you got to get 20 days. You can do almost any event in the Winter Wonderland to get credit for that, and you get ornaments that you can use to buy other things like snowball guns, um, other like turrets and whatnot that also fire snowballs. You can get iced boots that let you ice skate on the frozen lake. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff in there you can get.
Saint
Pets.
Bernard
There's
pet.
non-combat pets. Yep. Get one of the
Sweaters.
dogs.
Get an ugly sweater, you know. Like I have on an
Um,
ugly sweater.
you can get nanopulse weaponry from there as well, which is kind of Star Trek Online's version of a lightsaber. Um, so the new one they introduced this year is a purple double-bladed batleth. So double-bladed lightsaber.
Which
Kind of
I
cool
have
stuff.
pulled out now for people to see on stream.
I did not buy that one. I bought a black one from last year, I think it was. I like the design better than the purple one, but it's there. It's a thing. I did buy a snowball gun though.
It's not a bad
Let's see.
lightsaber batleth.
They deal fairly good damage. It's a little weird. Plasma damage, so the Borg can adapt to it, but it's a high rate of damage, so So earlier today, Cryptic Studios announced a thank you. They're calling it a thank you. It's really more of an apology, but they're calling it a thank you.
Thank
Over
you
the
for not
past
quitting.
couple months, right? Over the past couple months, STO has had a rash of errors, mainly involving saving your skill tree and forcing you to respec and stuff like that. Supposedly, this is all fixed now. And as a thank you for those of us who stuck it out, they are giving everybody in the game a free experimental ship upgrade token and 4 respec tokens. This is claimable starting Friday on 12/18 and is available until January 3rd. So make sure you pick that up if you're in game.
And don't forget the respec.
Yeah, well, I'm a little confused by that. Like we just got a bunch of free respecs, and they're going to give us free respecs. I mean, it's like, come on, guys.
Well, they broke stuff.
They could have given us.
They broke it badly. I mean,
They did, and I don't mind the reward, but it's like, why give us free respec tokens when we've just been respecking? I mean, they could have found something else, right? Like, give us an outfit, give us the ship upgrade and an outfit, or give us Zen credits. Give everybody like 200 or 300 Zen credits. I mean, there's other things that could have done. It just cracks me up that that's where they went. But I appreciate the gesture. I really do.
I honestly see that as being okay. When you're doing the respecs, if you've done them so many times enough, you might have screwed. Oh, click. Oh shit! I just screwed up. And now this respec thing. You won't even have to pay to fix it if you oopsed along the way. So
that's true.
I don't have a. I was like, I can kind of see it. So, but and then the experimental upgrade is to kind of be the actual gift, like on top of being able to help you fix your respecs. Here's something to help.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's a fair point. All right, so I'm going to let you talk about the 2 new ships, and then we'll launch into this build here.
I don't think they're in. I think they're going to go in the store tomorrow. They are the Recon Destroyers. They are adding 2 new ones. They already had Recon. They already had a Recon ship already. They have the cross class for the recon bundle for the two that are already in game, because you have the Lafayette Recon Destroyer and the Ketha Recon Raptor, and they are adding a Jem'Hadar and a Vanguard Recon Destroyer and a Romulan Recon Warbird. If you already have the cross faction Recon bundle, they're going to put in two bundles technically, and you can buy them separate. The two bundle will be the two new ships, so you can get the Jem'Hadar and Romulan if you didn't have those two, or they're going to add in a 4-ship bundle that you can pick up and instead if you didn't have the other two. So they make it easy for you to pick them up one way or the other. And they will start off being on sale, the bundles. So, and I think, yeah, so the ships are essentially cheaper in the bundle. It's going to be 4,000 for the 2-ship bundle. I think it was going to be while on sale, all 4 ships are 5,600 Zen for all 4. But after the sale, they're going to be either, I think it was either 8,000 or 8,000 sounds about right. It might be 7,000 or something, 6,500 or somewhere in there. But I find it interesting that they are cheaper, because typically 3,000 Zen per ship. But, 2,000 Zen per ship for a 2-ship bundle. And
Right.
Yeah. It's fine.
All
it's
right.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, I guess I'm taking over the episode now.
And, I accidentally muted him. No.
I deserve it after that evil laugh. That was pathetic. Anyway, so last week we talked to you guys about Aux to Bat, and Grebog was able to take the reins on that. Thank you, Grebog. This week we are doing Beam Overload, which is the build that I have been working on for several months now. I think I finally got it where I like it. I used this build on Crystalline Entity Advanced the other day, and I actually came out of that in first place, which kind of surprised me. I've never even placed in that thing before, so it was a good feeling, I suppose would be the way to put that. So I'm just going to jump right in here. We're going to try to knock this out fairly quickly. Beam Overload is a bridge officer ability. It's this one I've got slotted right here. Beam Overload 3. It basically overloads your weapon emitters and makes your energy weapon beams hit harder. Has no effect on cannons, of course. Strictly beams. So the ship I'm flying right now is the fleet version of the Advanced Escort. This is the Prometheus class starship, which splits into 3, as you can see here. You don't have to fly this ship with the Beam Overload build. Almost any ship can do this. You'll just have to adjust your bridge officer seating as necessary to make it work with whatever ship you're flying. But I have found this one works pretty well on it. The NX refit also works pretty well, but that is a lockbox or a bundle ship, and they can be pretty pricey. So this one's a little bit easier to get a hold of. All right, so we're just going to launch right in here. For my bridge officers, let's start with them. So go over here to stations. These are my bridge officers right here. We've got a Ensign Universal spot currently occupied by Haste Off. This is the one that I have not finished purchasing yet. I want to get a Kintari bridge officer for this spot, or Kintari engineer. They have a trait called Kintari Ferocity, which adds 2% damage when you destroy a target. So you blow something up, and then the next thing you fight, you get a plus 2% to all damage across the board. It's a really nice trait, one that I really like for damage builds, but obviously I don't have that yet. Now, for the ability you want your bridge officer to have, you want either Engineering Team 1 or Emergency Power to Shields. Both of those are really good abilities. If you have 2 engineer spots, those are the ones I recommend. For the Commander Tactical, which is this one here, the red, I have seated here a Romulan Tactical Bridge Officer. This guy comes from the Fleet Embassy, and I believe Grebog is going to show you where to get that here in just a minute. These officers have a specialist trait called the Superior Romulan Operative. This trait has a plus 2% crit chance and a plus 5% crit severity. His abilities, I've got Chemosite Laced Weaponry, which makes all your weapons have an AoE radiation. I have Attack Pattern Beta 1. Goes along with one of the Starship traits, which I'll go over here in a minute. It upgrades your weapons, upgrades your attack, and lowers damage resistant for the enemies. And then I have Beam Overload 3. Now, this is the highest level of Beam Overload, and this is the most important ability in this build. You're doing a Beam Overload build, you might as well have the highest Beam Overload available. And then for the fourth slot, I have Attack Pattern Omega. This does give you a bonus to all damage, increases your flight speed, turn rate, damage resistance. But the most important thing for me that this does is it makes you immune to movement debuffs. This means any spatial anomaly that slows you down, tractor beams, anything that tries to take control of your ship, this will nullify. It's very helpful when you're out there flying around. Lieutenant Tactical Spot, this one here, I have another Romulan Bridge Officer. Again, this has the Superior Romulan Operative. 2% crit chance, 5% crit severity, and those two do stack. The abilities he has is Tactical Team 1. This removes hostile boarding parties. It can remove tactical debuffs. But the big thing it does is it equalizes your shields. So wherever you are taking fire from on your shields, this will rapidly fill up that shield facing. So if you're taking a bunch of fire from forward arc, you hit this ability, all the available shields will go to that forward arc and keep your hull safe. And then my second ability here is Cannon Scatter Volley. The reason I'm using this is to power up the Beam Overload. That's related to a trait. We'll get to that in just a minute. In my Lieutenant Commander Engineering spot, I have a Krenim Engineering Bridge Officer. This guy has a space trait called Temporal Engineering, which reduces all the engineering cooldowns. So all of these yellow abilities are on a lower cooldown because of this officer. Kind of a great little ability. We have Engineering Team 1, which is a hull heal, Emergency Power to Weapons 2, which gives you weapon power and bonus damage. Again, this goes with a trait, so we'll go over that here in just a second. And then in my third slot, I have Reverse Shield Polarity, which is a fantastic survival trait. This converts incoming damage to a shield heal. So it's another good way to keep those shields up. And my final bridge officer here is the Hierarchy Science Bridge Officer. This is a free reward from the episode in the Delta Quadrant series titled Alliances. Now, this is one of the absolute best bridge officers that you can have for an energy weapons build, including Beam Overload. And the reason this officer has two space traits. He's got one called Pirate, which is a plus 1.5% to all damage. And he's got Efficient, which improves your power transfer rate. So all around good officer. And then his abilities here, I have Hazard Emitters, which removes harmful like damage over time effects, and has a relatively good hull healing over time ability. I've got Science Team 2, which is a powerful shield regeneration that's added to each facing. And then Polarized Hull. Now, this is another one that can remove tractor beams from you, but it also increases your damage resistant and makes you immune to teleports. So just another little survival buff there. All right, that covers my bridge officers. Grebog, you want to go ahead and show them where to pick up those Romulans real quick?
So I am in the Fleet Embassy. You can see there over on the other side, the two guards are by the underneath by the elevator where you come up If you run along the right side, you'll see this console that says Requisition Bridge Officers. When you go down, like in here, you do have to be careful because while yes, if you have a fleet that's maxed everything out, unfortunately, I don't have the credits for the epics. You don't want the epics. The epics, if I was kind of showing you, they only have the superior subterfuge. That's not what you want, and you have to make sure it's on the tactical. And right here, it's the tactical male has superior Romulan operative. That's what you're looking for.
You can buy it multiples of that officer.
And I just
Unfortunate
bought myself
that
one.
it's only on the male, though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
All right, so I'm going to switch screens here so you guys can see the next section here. We're going to talk about duty officers. Duty officers on my roster. There we go. Active space. And as you can see, I have 6. I went ahead and bought the 6th spot from... Which one is that from?
The 6th slot?
Yeah, for duty officers. Your 6th duty officer. I can't remember which holding
Spire.
that's from.
You're
there
right
you go.
next
Thank
to
you.
it.
Where I'm flying. Go figure. All right, so my first one here is an energy weapons specialist. This is a stacking crit hit. Let's see. Crit chance. This one right here. And then I also have a stacking crit severity. This is on projectiles, and I do have projectiles, and this one's on energy weapons. This one's going to happen a little bit more frequently. I need to take this one and make it energy weapons. I haven't quite got the money for it right now, but that's my plan. Those are kind of expensive. They do have the purple quality, but blue works just fine if you can't get the purples just yet. I have one fabrication engineer, which is down here. This increases the duration of reverse shield polarity. I have a Nakul warfare specialist, which is Dayaga up here. This person has a chance of outgoing damage applied as healing, so it's a survival buff. I have... Oh, that's tactical abilities. So anytime I activate any of my weapon power-ups, this can turn into a heal. I have an energy weapons officer, which is a chance for beam overload to cause all attacks to gain 30% shield penetration. So that's a damage buff. And it goes right along with the beam overload that I'm working on. And then I have a projectile weapons officer, which has a chance to gain shield power when using torpedoes. So it's another little survival buff. What you want in here, a lot of these don't stack more than once, so one of each is plenty. You can have some play in here, but the big thing is you want those crit severity buff and your crit chance buff. That's the big thing for the build right there. The rest of it is a little fluff, but these are some powerful officers, so keep that in mind if you're doing the build. Let's move to traits here. So you don't want to worry too much about ground traits right now. We're doing space, so I'm going to skip that section and go right to the space traits. This might be a little out of order, but what you can see here is I've got Beam Barrage. That's a straight up damage boost, and it comes from the R&D Beam School getting to level 15. That can be a bit of a chore. There is an easy way to do it. We talked about that in another episode, but I'll show you here real quick. You go to Beams, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you can click this right here. It gives you 6,000 experience. So, and you can stack that up to 3 times, so get 18,000 per day. And that's a fast way to build that. But you get to 15 and you get your Beam Barrage. There's a Beam Training, which is a basic ability. Operative, which increases your crit hit and crit chance. That's also a basic ability. Innocuous. Now, I don't remember that one. I gotta find it here. There it is. Crit severity and minus threat generation. And that's a basic ability. Cannon Training increases your cannon damage. Fleet Coordinator is this one. This is a straight up damage bonus per team member. It does include yourself. So even if you're not in a team with anybody else, it's an automatic 2% bonus. But if you're in a full team of 5, it is a 10% bonus. Let's see. Point blank shot. Point blank shot increases damage the closer you are to your enemy. It comes from an episode in the Iconian War arc. And the name of the episode is House Peg. It's a fun episode anyway, but make sure you run it to go ahead and pick up that trait. Nanite Repair Matrix. Now, this is one that I just threw in here because I wanted a little bit more survivability. Let me find that again. Nanite. Oh, I forgot about that. I actually traded that one out for a Good Day to Die. So a Good Day to Die, I bought that off the exchange. It comes from a lockbox. It allows go down fighting to be used at any hull integrity. So go down fighting is a fairly large buff. It's a 20% or plus 20 to all damage resistances and a 50% increase to all damage. And it usually only triggers when you're at half health, but a Good Day to Die lets you trigger it at any point in time. So it's an extra buff that you can have active at all times. And I didn't update my notes for that, so I apologize for the confusion.
Do note that's a
And
tactical officer or captain only trait.
Fair enough. Good point. That's right, because you mentioned that on your build and said you couldn't even get it.
Correct.
And then I added Shield Technician, which adds 10% to your maximum shields. That's the survivability one. Okay, so we're going to go down to Space Reputation here. Again, we're going to ignore ground. We'll go over that on a ground-based episode. So I have Precision, which is just a straight-up 5% crit chance. Magnified Firepower, which is a plus 6.3% damage bonus. Enhanced Rending Shots. This is a stacking crit hit buff. So every time a weapon fires and is not a crit, it increases your crit chance. So it pretty much guarantees that you're going to hit a crit at some point in time. Advanced Targeting Systems is a straight up crit severity boost. And Tyler's Duality gives you a plus 3% crit chance, which is based on your hull capacity, not your current hull, but your total capacity. And the more that you boost your hull points, the higher your crit chance goes. So as you can see, I'm focused on crit hit and crit severity. The reason for that is when beam overload hits, you want it to hit as hard as it possibly can. Active space. Now, the active space abilities, you kind of have a limited selection. I really don't care for these a whole lot. The only one I really use all the time is the biomolecular shield, and that's because it's a shield heal. The rest of them, you've got a singularity you can create that pulls your enemies in. You've got a sensor interference platform, makes it harder for your enemies to hit you. And your Tetrion Cascade here, which is a Tetrion damage. It's just another damage ability, kind of affected by your exotic particles. I really don't use it a whole lot. I focus on my attack abilities instead. But pick whatever active space abilities you want to use and just run with it. Hopefully they'll add some more in later that will be a little bit more fun. Okay, and now the starship traits. Now this is the big one. A lot of these come from other ships, but we'll go over it here. So the first one is Best Hope of the Empire. This is when you use Beam Overload or a Lance ability, you get plus 10% to all damage and 50,000 temp hull points. This comes from the Z Store, the Mirror Universe bundle, or the Tier 6. No, I'm sorry, this is Mirror Universe bundle only. I've got subsystem redundancies. This is another one that comes from the Mirror Universe bundle, but you can also get it on the Tier 6 Dreadnought Cruiser. This is, again, when you use Beam Overload or a Lance ability, you get a shield repair and shield resistance. So it's another survival trait. Then I have critical systems. This comes from the Temporal Agent recruitment event, so you have to have a Temporal Agent to unlock this. But anything here that increases your crit chance would be good. If you don't have critical systems, you don't have a temporal agent, just put something in here that increases your crit chance or crit severity. Preferential targeting. Now, this is the big one. This is why I have a cannon on a beam ship. So when you use fire at will or cannon scatter volley, this will double the damage of your beam overload. So I hit with the cannons first, and then I hit beam overload. The reason I'm using cannons instead of fire at will is because fire at will and beam overload share a cooldown. So when you activate one, the other one goes on cooldown for 15 seconds. I didn't want that, so I switched to cannons, so I can hit the activate the cannons, give the 100% damage boost to beam overload, and then instantly hit that beam overload and blast away. So that's what I've been doing. Heart of Soul here. This is one that affects attack pattern beta, which is part of the reason I have it on my list here. This gives you a 10% firing cycle haste for energy weapons for 20 seconds and a 5% bonus phaser damage. So it increases phaser damage across the board and speeds up the rate at which your weapons fire. And that does affect beam overload because your beams will fire faster. If you have beam overload active, you'll get that boost in there as well. My final trait here is numerical superiority. This increases your damage based on the number of allies targeting your current target, and it does include pets. So when my ship here splits into 3, those 2 extra pets do activate this ability. So I get an increased damage off of those pets. Now I'm going to go into equipment a little bit here. Go back to the main page of the Selene. Okay, so I've got some changes to do here over time. I'm not quite in the meta equipment yet. There is a reason for that, and it's not just because I'm broke, although that is certainly part of it. I'm going to start right here with my deflector. I am currently equipping the Bajor Defense Deflector Array. This is an episode reward from New Frontiers. The episode is Scylla and Charybdis. My impulse engines are the prevailing fortified impulse engines from the competitive reputation. This gives you a very large boost to flight speed and turn rate every time you activate a firing mode. So if I activate cannon scatter volley or beam overload, this kicks in. My current warp core is the gamma synergistic. Oh, I'm sorry. The prevailing impulse engines come from the competitive reputation. My warp core is the gamma synergistic overcharged warp core. I have this primarily because it increases your warp factor in sector space, but it does have some boost to auxiliary power, so that can be handy, especially if you want to use that, like lower your auxiliary as low as you can to boost something else, and that's more or less what I've done. My shields are the Bajor Defense Covariant Shield Array. This comes from the episode reward in the New Frontiers arc. Again, Scylla and Charybdis. Okay, so these two, the 2 Bajor Defense, have a 2-piece set bonus that increases phaser damage by 20%. So that's an extra 20% boost onto my phaser damage. Now, the meta says you want a different deflector, and you want the shields from the Tully shields from the Discovery reputation. No set bonuses there, but both of those items, so it's the Fleet deflector and the Tully shields, both of those have some pretty hefty bonuses just on their own.
Tilly?
Thank you. I keep saying Tully, don't I? Yes, the Tilly shields. That's what I get when I'm trying to talk a million miles a second. I do have the Tilly shields. I do not have the correct deflector, and right now I want to use that 2-piece bonus. So a little bit of a bargain build here. In my devices, I have the red matter capacitor. This just gives you a straight up boost to all your power levels for 30 seconds. That's a great device. You get that out of the Phoenix prize packs. I have a subspace field modulator. This is a great little boost to your defenses if you find yourself taking a bunch of damage all at once. You get this from an episode reward called Specters. It's one of the hidden missions in the game. You have to be max level, and you can find that right here in the available tab. You have to scroll down, find Skirmish, and it will get you that reward. And then my third and final device is the Scorpion Fighters. This is an episode reward from the Vault, which again is one of those hidden episodes. Go to the available tab, scroll down until you find the Vault. I might be wrong on that. Let me look here. I'm getting carried away. Romulan Mystery, is it up here? It is still up here. So I was totally wrong on that. I apologize. It's under the Romulan Mystery. The Vault mission is right here, about halfway down. You fly that in a shuttle, and then the reward is you get Scorpion Fighters to put on any ship. The weapons that you see, and as you can tell, I'm still in the process of upgrading a bunch of my weapons, but I needed a cannon, so I'm using the Phaser Quad Cannons. This is a C-Store purchase from the Tier 4 Sao Paulo Tactical Escort Refit. I have the Phaser Wide-Angle Dual Heavy Beam Bank. This is from the Discovery Reputation. I have the Pulse Phaser Dual Beam Bank. This comes from a lockbox. I bought mine on the exchange. And then I have the Dark Matter Quantum Torpedo Launcher, which is also from the Discovery Reputation. In the aft weapon spots, I have the Advanced Inhibiting Phaser Turret from the Gamma Reputation, right here, which gets me the 2-piece bonus because of this and the console that I'll get to here in a minute. I have the Omnidirectional Phaser Beam Array, which comes from the R&D. That has to be crafted. You can buy them off the exchange. And I have the Trilithium Enhanced Omnidirectional Beam Array, which comes from the episode New Frontiers arc Beyond the Nexus. Down here in the consoles, I have the Multi-Vector Assault Mold. Now I can't talk at all. Multi-Vector Assault Module. This comes from the Tier 6 Advanced Escort, not the Fleet version, the regular Tier 6. I had to move it over. And it's what lets this class of ship split into 3, so kind of a necessary thing. In the engineering, you'll see here I have the Domino console. This is a fantastic boost to phaser damage. Comes from the Lobi store, the Bajoran Interceptor. I have reinforced armaments. This comes from New Frontiers Beyond the Nexus. Gets me a 2-piece bonus with the Omnidirectional Energy Weapon. And that 2-piece bonus is a firing cycle haste and a flight speed increase. So that firing cycle is what I was looking for, which is why this is here. And then I have the Trellium deplating. You could almost put anything in this spot that boosts your survivability. This one in particular boosts damage resistance and your maximum shield capacity. It also has a habit of adding to your shield power. It transfers adds 7.5% of your aux power to your shield power, which is another good reason to have that aux power up. In the science consoles, I have Opening Salvo, which comes from the Z-Store, the Titan-class Science Destroyer. It adds critical hit chance with weapons, and then it's basically a free torpedo that you can fire every few seconds. That's not right. It's on a 2-minute, so every couple minutes you can get a free torpedo. I have the Prior's World Elite Defense Satellite. This is an event reward. I believe it's currently in Mud's Market. We might get it somewhere else at the moment. That can be a hard one to get if you miss the event. This adds just a straight up boost to all directed energy damage, so anything other than torpedoes. And then it can also launch a turret, a spatial turret that will sit there and tractor beam your enemies and fire air enemies, and it's kind of a handy little thing to have. And then my third here is from the Gamma Reputation. This is the Ordnance Accelerator. It gives you a straight up boost to phaser, polaron, and projectile weapon damage. And then this gives me a 2-piece bonus with the Advanced Inhibiting turret that I have equipped there. And this 2-piece gives you an additional 10% damage to chronoton, phaser, polaron, and flight turn rate. So there's another phaser boost for you. And then in the tacticals, I went with crit chance over crit severity and got the vulnerability locators. I have 4 of those based on phaser damage. And then my 5th console is the Lorca's custom fire controls from the Discovery set. This gives me the 3-piece set bonus from the Discovery set items, reputation items. So I get a 1% critical severity buff for 20 seconds every time I crit, and that stacks up to 25 times. And then anytime an enemy gets to 50% health, the 3-piece set bonus will fire an automatic dark matter quantum torpedo. And this can actually fire at more than one enemy. If you're AoEing things down, you can actually have several of them fire off at once. I've seen it. I know it happens. So there's my equipment. I think that pretty much covers everything as far as the build goes.
I'm fascinated with your cannon beam mix.
It works really, really well.
The reason I say I'm fascinated with, because people, when you do research and stuff, there will be a lot of people that say don't do that. Though this build specifically uses it to an advantage.
Because it doubles the damage of your beam overload, and I have gotten to 100,000 damage criticals off of that. So it can be pretty terrifying if used at the right moment. Hence the crit build. That's why I'm doing crit chance and crit severity. I want to hit as hard as I possibly can, and it does work fairly well. So let's run something and show this off a little bit. What are you interested in running, Grebog?
I'm good with whatever. I mean, we could do a patrol quick, or we could do,
We can run a patrol. And then if we have time, maybe queue for Crystalline Catastrophe. That one tends to go pretty quick.
I mean, you're built for that one.
I am built for that one. Like I said, I got first place earlier. It was kind of an amazing thing. Let me invite you. I should have done that a long time ago.
It's fine.
Invite to team.
Let me double check my traits are still here as people watching in my little window. I had to redo my traits because while streaming, the whole game lost my traits again.
Hopefully this is the last time. They were supposed to have fixed this.
For the first time, for the last time. Oh, no. I don't know.
We can hope, right? All right, so let me pull this up. We'll go to the patrols menu. Let's just do our favorite patrol. Oh, wait a minute. I want to increase the difficulty. And then I'll queue us up.
So we're going for Argala.
Advanced. Yes. Yeah, but let me set it to advanced first.
I will set mine to advanced as well, just to make sure that works.
Okay, I am set and ready to go. And yeah, we're going to go do the lettuce run. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, launching.
I apparently did the superior operative thing without realizing it. Or maybe I did realize it when I set it up, but
Okay, so I activate chemosite-laced weaponry and scatter volley, and then we jump up in here. Now, scatter volley by itself is actually pretty good at taking things down, but if you need that extra boost, boom, right there, 114,000 damage crit.
You have entered an area controlled by the
Quit talking. I want to blow things up.
Let's go over and ask if they're thawed like the Mount Pine.
See how hard I can hit these guys.
I hit everybody.
Now that was a 50,000 crit. Looks fun, doesn't it? just flying around. And that's all I do is I keep shifting between those abilities. Chemosite, weaponry, along with the scatter volley. And then as soon as I can punch it, I hit beam overload and one of my emergency power buttons. And it doesn't matter which one, you can use emergency power to weapons or emergency power to shields for the boost. Both work.
We do what we want, where we want.
Oh, and I should probably separate my ship. Totally forgot about that part. Get my extra boost there. 83,000 crit. And that was actually without my boost on, which is kind of sad because that would have been 160,000.
More boosts, more power.
And he's down. There we go. I was still targeting the disabled ship. That doesn't help any.
I don't target anyone, I just shoot them all.
And there we go. We're done.
We'll send over a pacification party.
I'll go ahead and get my fleet marks.
Thank you for your assistance.
Yeah, that didn't take very long at all. Let's go ahead and queue up.
We recommend that you get underway. We have the
And that was advanced.
That was advanced. You think maybe we're learning how to play this game in Grebog?
Finally.
I mean, after 10 years, you think we might have picked something up?
We finally figured out how to build a ship.
Right? Only took us 10 years. All right, you're still in party with me, so...
You can
let's
do
find
it
that
too,
crystalline
people.
catastrophe. Hopefully it won't take you 10 years. Let me
Well-
know if you get this queue, Grebog. Did
Successfully
that give it to you?
joined, yes.
Okay. Now, earlier I had to sit here for a moment, so while we do that, let's see here. Secondary target was going to be the Alachi ground battle, which we still owe our viewers. Ah, there we go. It popped. So
See.
one of these times we're going to hit that.
You talked way faster than I did. So
Well, I didn't give alternates either. You had a really good thing there when you were giving alternate like equipment for certain things, and you also talked about doing a disruptor build versus a phaser build. I didn't do all that. I just went straight down. This is what I've got. There are some things you can do in there that might be a little bit different. Like I know the red matter can be hard to come by. The domino console can be hard to come by. In place of the red matter, you could use a weapons battery. That would give you an increase to damage. For the domino, maybe another vulnerability locator to kind of increase your damage there. The domino console is very, 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 very good. It is highly recommended, especially if you're doing a phaser build. Although, as Grebog showed last week, it can also be used in other builds just because the stats on it are just that good. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do the crystalline catastrophe. We're taking out the crystalline entity, which is sitting over there. Now, this thing has a habit of at a fourth of its life and I think a third of its life, it becomes immune to all damage and it builds up to a massive explosion. If you are caught in that explosion, you better have some good hull healing and damage resistance or you are going to die. I tend to avoid it. So I sit back right out or just inside firing range and start running through my routine here. So activate my abilities. Let's do the beams. And there he goes for the first time. Backing out to past 10 kilometers. And then you can just sit here or you can fight the enemies surrounding him. I'm going to sit back. And as soon as he explodes, I move in, activate my abilities again, and start shooting. We'll go with beams. And there he goes again, and I need to get out of dodge this time. Usually I sit closer to that 10 km range. This time I did not.
People are watching me dip in and out.
Now that's the last time that he's going to do the explosion, so you can just unload everything you've got for this one. And I'm getting in close so I can use both of my traits, and he just blew up. Now I didn't get first place this time. It looks like I got second place. And I got an item reward here.
Apparently that was the personal endeavor.
Oh. Well, there you go.
I don't even think I placed, so. Who needs a place?
Right. That's my build. I really, really have found that I like this build. I think next time, though, I might try a Fire at Will build. Which actually means I might need some help from you, Grebog. Most Fire at Will builds that I've seen also use Ox to Bat, so...
At least to some degree, yes.
Might need your help with that one a little bit. But Beam Overload, I've been getting a really, really big kick out of running this. It's been a lot of fun. I have tried it on 2 different ships, this one and the NX. I've actually kind of been working on my alts, building a few of them up to this build too. The Romulan in particular, it is very easy for a Romulan captain to get all bridge officers with the superior. Let me get that right. The superior Romulan operative trait. They're actually the only ones that can do it. So you can just grab all the bridge officers with that trait, put them into every slot on your ship, and you'll give yourself a massive boost to crit severity and crit chance. So I've been working on my Romulan trying to do the same sort of build. It's going to take quite a bit of work. Like I said, I spent everything I had on this officer, so I need to build up my resources again before I can really deck out another one. But long-term goals, there you go. Next time we go over this build, it might be my Romulan I'm showing off. And oddly enough, that does not work for the Jem'Hadar. So there is a Jem'Hadar Vanguard bridge officer that works really, really well for this build as well. Almost as good as the Romulan operative. But you have to buy the Vanguard pack from the Zen store, the expansion pack here.
They aren't quite as good as the superior Romulan operatives. They do. It's the engineered soldiers. What you're looking for, if you have the Vanguard Jem'Hadars, they have the space trait that is also engineered soldier, which gives you crit and crits. It gives you more crit chance and severity. So. It's only 1% crit chance and 2.5% crit severity. That's why it's like you would want to go with superior Romulan operatives over the other, just because you get more. It's basically double the engineered soldier trait. But if you,
it is still a good trait,
and it is a way to have a, engineer or science officer that has, since you can't get superior Romulan operative for if you're a standard fed, if you have the Jem'Hadar Vanguard, you will have 1 engineer, 1 science, and 1 tactical, but you could then put your science and engineer into slots that you have.
Yep. And that's also a highly recommended bridge officer trait to have. So there you go. There's another option for you. But as you can tell, Grebog is much better at giving options than I am.
Well, it's because I don't typically have the money or the right setup, so I go with what I can get versus what they tell me sometimes. Or that's the way I typically go. Because
So we will.
you could
Go
spend
ahead.
hundreds of dollars in real money to try to mimic someone's build. I don't. You can have just as an effective build without doing that.
Well, especially if you're just doing PvE for the fun of it. I mean, you don't need 160,000 point crits in order to play this game. It's fun. It's neat to see those weapons pop up, or those damage numbers scroll by your screen, but it is certainly not necessary. But build your ship the way you like to. You can have some really off the wall builds that are good, that work. And as long as you're having fun, that's the important thing. But we are going to highlight some more builds in the future just to give you guys a view of what's out there, the different options, the different types of builds you can do. I do know something I tried before was an all torpedo build on a science vessel. It didn't really work all that well, but it was fun. So I could try that again in the future at some point in time too. Do a torp build and see what I can come up with. Next week, though, so we had a change in plans. Not that you guys see our show notes, but not at least not until after the fact. But originally, I was going to do some more voice or guest stars, going over the voice actors in STO. But we had a different idea. Next week, we are going to highlight the Winter Wonderland. So it'll be an episode dedicated to Q's Winter Wonderland. Showing you all the different type of events that you can run, how you can get your daily progress, and so on and so forth. Now, I know this is coming late. The Winter Wonderland has already been out for a couple weeks. I wish I would have thought about doing this sooner. But going forward, our plan is to start doing episodes like this at the beginning of every event so that we can highlight what's coming or what's going on and let you guys kind of check out without having to run into it yourselves and not know what's going on. So we'll start doing that from here on out. But next week, Q's Winter Wonderland, we'll go say hi to Q for a little bit.
Which I
got
am there
anything?
right now. Oh, I thought I'd preview the Winter Wonderland. I'm standing up by the main hub. Thought I'd preview it. Nice, snowy,
fun.
cold, a lot of fun stuff. You get to throw snowballs and just have all kinds of fun. We'll cover next week.
We will indeed. As always, talking about Q, I will leave you with the words Q said to Picard in the episode All Good Things. See you out there.
Live long and prosper.